How's it going, drivers? Welcome to Trucking with Old Snapper. You got Old Snapper here. I'm going to talk about Decker and Wylie. I'm going to compare these two companies. These are two OTR flatbed companies that I've worked for. I plan on doing another one later on comparing Wylie and Hunt Transportation out of Omaha, Nebraska. That's another flatbed company I've worked for in the past. Did flatbed in the oil field too, but that's quite a bit different than OTR. Not even going to compare that. But in this video, we're going to go over Decker and Wylie and my thoughts and opinions comparing both of these companies. Okay, this is just from my perspective. Now, right up front, right off top, one thing I will say, and most of y'all who have watched my channel know how I feel about this. Decker has driver-facing cameras, where Wylie does not. Our inward-facing camera is covered. It also does not have audio. It's just outward video only. That's all we have. Now, if you get in trouble here, you get caught on your cell phone or something like that, then they're going to make you take that cover off. But other than that, no. That's right up front. That's right off jump. Now, myself, I would never go back to Decker for that one reason right there. That one reason right there just kills that. But that's not what we're getting into. It's not a matter of me going back to Decker or me staying at Wylie, nothing like that. It's just a comparison of the two companies. Both companies are decent companies. Both companies treated me well. There's a reason I left Decker. We'll get into that here in this video. But both companies treated me pretty well for the most part. On the equipment side of things, Wylie runs Peterbilts. I don't think there's anything else there. I think I may have seen an international or two from some other companies that kind of got bought out. But I think for the most part, all we have are Peterbilts. I might be wrong though. At Decker, I had a Volvo when I was there. I don't remember if they were all Volvos or not, but I had a Volvo when I was at Decker. I don't really care. Volvo, Peterbilt, Freightliner, Kenworth. Kenworth's my favorite, but I don't really care when it comes to equipment. I believe at Decker, I also had a refrigerator, an inverter, and all that kind of stuff. Same thing I have here. The equipment, I prefer the Peterbilt over the Volvo, but it's really not that big a deal. But if it is to you, that's something to consider. I don't know if Decker is still running primarily Volvos. I haven't really paid attention to them here recently, but that's what they were running back then. Decker was 65 on the pedal and then 68 on the cruise. Here at Wylie, we're 65 cruise, pedal, it doesn't matter. Hang your hand out the window, try to grab some air, you're still going to do 65. You're not going to do a mile per hour over it, which kind of sucks in some ways. As you can see in this video, I get passed up a lot. We are pretty much, I don't think too many companies are at 62 anymore, but yeah, we pretty much stay in the right lane. We don't get out there in the left lane very much. If I'm in the left lane, normally it's because I'm coming up on road construction. And sometimes, believe it or not, I believe I'm a hazard because I'm just a little bit too slow. But at Decker, they're pretty much in the same boat. It's not a whole lot different over there. They do have 68 on the cruise, though. As y'all know, the cost of health insurance can drastically affect your paycheck. I've been places where the health insurance is really high, been places where it's really low. The health insurance at Decker was extremely high, but Decker's a smaller company, where Wylie isn't a real large company, but it's part of a larger corporation. So on a group policy, our insurance is naturally going to be a little less expensive than it is at a smaller outfit. So our insurance here is pretty cheap. I believe, I didn't select it, but I believe there's even a 100% paid policy here, one the company covers. Now, I didn't get it. I have a child and other things that are on my insurance, so I didn't select that option. Plus, there's like 3 or 4 different grades of insurance you can get here, and I got one that was in the middle. It kind of fit me and my needs a little better than the lower cost ones. But even that grade insurance that I got is still probably half of what it cost me when I was at Decker. The insurance at Decker is just unreal. It's crazy. Decker didn't have the highest insurance I've ever seen. I've seen higher, but their insurance was pretty expensive, and it used to cut into my checks quite a bit. Both companies allow pets. Now, I don't remember what the pet deposit was and all that over at Decker. Or they may have taken it away by now. Who knows? It's been a few years ago that I worked over there. But here at Wylie, they do have a pet policy. You can bring a pet. It's a little bit expensive. I know a buddy of mine's got one, and I want to say he paid $1,000. I think it came out at $100 or $150 a week, something like that, until it was paid off. But I think he paid $1,000 deposit. And I think from what he told me that it was half refundable. So if he ever leaves, I think he gets half of it back. I don't know what the pet deposit is over at Decker, but that's what it is here. I think it's $1,000. And I think it goes up if you have a larger dog. I think it's more, because he's got a small dog. He's got a Frenchie. It's just a small dog. And I think he paid $1,000. I like dogs, but I don't know if $1,000's worth having a dog on a truck. But that's just my own opinion. And like I said, I don't know what the pet policy was over at Decker. I didn't have a dog, didn't really pay much attention to it. So I'm sure one of these Decker drivers will probably hop in there and answer that down in the comments below eventually. But there is a pet policy at both companies. So that's pretty much the same. Well, let's get down to the brass tacks. This is what most of you want to hear about anyway, right? Is the money. How different is the money? Well, the money is night and day. I make a whole lot more money here at E.W. Wylie than I did at Decker. It's not even close. I mean, it's not. And it's not the cent per mile, because the cent per mile is pretty close to the same. Decker might even have a little bit higher cent per mile. But the difference was the loads, okay? The loads have a lot to do with it. Here at E.W. Wylie, there's a lot of longer loads. I mean, I get some short loads. I'll get some 300 to 500 miles, 700 mile loads here and there every now and then. Most of my loads are probably to that 8 to 1,200 mile range, maybe 13. That's probably where most of my loads fall in at. And I get one every now and then. It'll be 2,000 or 1,800 or 1,700 miles. The load I'm on right now is 1,800 miles plus 200 miles deadhead. So I mean, there's a lot longer loads here. When I was at Decker, most of the loads there were between 300 and 600 miles. It was a whole lot of deliver today or pick up today, deliver tomorrow. Many, many, many times at Decker, I tarped, untarped, and retarped in the same day on multiple loads. That was not uncommon when I was at Decker. And something else that's different. At Decker, we hauled a lot of what us flatbed drivers refer to as garbage freight. Not saying garbage as in literal garbage. Garbage freight being your lower end freight. Your more common freight, but your cheaper freight. So it'd be like drywall, shingles, lumber, toothpicks, things like that. And at Decker, I tarped a lot. I mean, us drivers, when we were at Decker, we had this running joke. I mean, Decker would tarp air if they could figure out how to tarp it. I swear to you, there ain't a doubt in my mind. If Decker could have figured out how to get us to tarp air back there, they would have tarped air. I mean, Decker tarps a lot, a whole lot. Here at Wylie, I tarp, and some weeks I tarp more than others. I have weeks where I tarp 2 or 3 times, and I got weeks where I don't tarp at all. It just depends. There's a good mix of freight here at E.W. Wylie. Where over there, I didn't have so much of a mix of freight. I hauled a lot of sheetrock. I hauled a lot of coils over there. Hauled a lot of lumber and paper. Used to haul a lot of paper over there, the big rolls. Used to pick it up all over the country, down in Alabama, up in Kansas City. That stuff's got to be tarped. I mean, it was a lot of tarping at Decker. And I mean, I'm a flatbed driver. Tarping is just part of the game, right? Unless you're hauling RGN or something like that, something specialized, you're going to do some tarping out here. That's just the way it is. A lot of places nowadays got tarping machines and different things like that to help you out. Some places even tarp it for you. But that's just part of the game, right? But it does suck when you're doing it over and over and over, load after load. And that's pretty much the way it was over at Decker. If I got a load, it got to where you just knew it was going to be tarped. For the most part, it was going to be tarped. Here at Wylie, like I said, it's a good mix. We might be hauling Caterpillar equipment. We might be hauling John Deere equipment. Might be hauling pipe. Might be hauling PVC pipe. Might be hauling building materials. I mean, it's a broad range of freight here. Now, we don't haul a whole lot of coils. But then again, looking back on my days at Decker, a lot of my coil loads were short runs. That's another thing. Decker had a whole lot of overnight runs. Whole lot of like picking up in Dayton in the afternoon and delivering down in Nashville the next morning. There was a whole lot of overnight runs at Decker. And as y'all know, in flatbed, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but myself, one of the reasons I prefer flatbed is because I like running days. I'm not much on that running all night long. I do it if I have to, but it's not my favorite time to run. Some of you guys like running nights. I'm just not that guy. When it gets dark, I get ready to go to bed. As you can see right here in this video, I'm on my last probably 15, 20 minutes of this trip. I'm going to be parking. You know, when you see that sun going down, I'm very much solar powered. I'm headed to the truck stop, or I'm headed to the rest area. Not long after that. You know, if I can. But I try to schedule my days out like that. But over at Decker, it was a whole lot of overnight runs. You know, maybe pick something up off the yard, run all night with it, deliver it the next morning. They are a reefer company as well, so I guess they don't really notice the difference. But they run their flatbed pretty similar to it. It's a whole lot of overnight stuff. But just to get down to it, yes, I make a whole lot more money here at E.W. Wylie. I got lower cost insurance, longer runs. I build up more miles. I have no problem here getting miles. At E.W. Wylie, not at E.W. Wylie, excuse me. At Decker, I had gone into the terminal a couple different times and complained because I couldn't get the miles that I needed to pay my bills. The miles over there, and it wasn't a lack of loads. I had plenty of loads. I was constantly, but it was short runs. It was a lot of short runs. So you run 500 miles or 600 miles, you deliver, you get all your stuff put up, you head a couple hundred miles over to another place to pick up. You wait in line to get loaded. You may have waited in line to deliver, and then you pick up another little short 200-300 mile run. It messed you up. It wasn't great. The short loads are okay in trucking if you got them behind a long load. So like you run a long load, then you run a short load, then you grab something else. It adds up for your week. But if you run nothing but long loads or nothing but short loads, it messes your week up. It just gets you all jacked up. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But over here at E.W. Wylie, they got a pretty good program down, They got their freight, they got their niche, they got their way of doing it. They're making money, we're making money, and it keeps me happy. I really enjoy that part. So yes, I do make a whole lot more money here at E.W. Wylie than I did over at Decker. Another big difference is the equipment. Over at Decker, we were running flats. That's all we ran. I don't think Decker has anything other than flats. I don't think they have any steps or RGNs over there. Here at E.W. Wylie, we have a broad range because we have a glass division. I have an SSD, which is a specialized step deck. We have SDs, which are low pro step decks. We have regular step decks, and we have flats. So there's a broad range of freight that we can haul because we have a lot of different types of trailers. Where over at Decker, you're pretty much stuck with just flatbed freight in general. I don't remember ever hauling any oversize over at Decker either. I'm not sure if they do haul any oversize over there. We do a little bit here at E.W. Wylie, and that's one of the reasons I like it here too, is the mix of freight. I do like hauling oversize, but I don't think they do any of that over at Decker. Now let's talk about orientation and training. When I say training, that's a flatbed securement training that they give you in orientation. Both companies do it. Both companies treated me really well in orientation. Both companies provided a rental car, nice hotel, single room occupancy. I didn't have to bunk with anybody at Decker. I don't have to bunk with anybody here at E.W. Wylie in orientation. So that's comparable. Now here at E.W. Wylie, there's a $2,500 sign-on bonus. I don't know what there is over at Decker at the moment. But your first check will have part of that sign-on bonus, and then it's split up in 2 more checks after that. But your first check is $2,000 basically here at E.W. Wylie, because they're going to pay you $1,000 for your orientation. Then I think it's $1,000 of your bonus that you get right off the rip. But orientation and all that is pretty much the same. Even the training part. I do believe the training here at E.W. Wylie was probably a little bit better, a little bit more in detail. Over at Decker, now I like the way they did it at Decker, because at Decker you went through your orientation. Once you got through with your orientation, then you went through your securement class. And your securement class was all day long, a couple days of it, right? Here at E.W. Wylie, you'll go through part day classes and then part day securement. And you kind of do securement every day all the way through, right? Except for the first day, if I remember right. If I remember right, the first day we didn't do any securement, but after that we did securement every day until we were done. As far as the details and how much I learned, things that I didn't know, or different ideas for how to secure freight and stuff like that, because there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I probably got a little bit better training here at E.W. Wylie than I did over at Decker. Decker's training isn't bad, and it's great for a beginner. You know, if it's your first time doing it, it's great because you're going to stick to just pretty much run-of-the-mill flatbed freight, one type of trailer. It's pretty easy to tarp over there. Most of your stuff's going to be squared off. I mean, it's either going to be lumber or sheetrock or something like that. A lot of dropping hooks over there because they do run sheetrock. A lot of your sheetrock are already be tarped and everything. But here at E.W. Wylie, it's like a step above that. I wouldn't call it the top notch because, you know, your top notch is they're running them windmills. They're doing that oversized, that stretched out stuff. You know, as far as I know, here at Wylie, we don't do the windmills or anything, the extreme freight. But we do some oversized, and we do some big equipment. It's like a step above Decker. You know, Decker would be at the very beginning of flatbed experience, and then your next step up would be something like Wylie. Wylie's got a little bit more advanced freight, in my opinion. Now, why did I leave Decker? Well, I left Decker because, just like you probably caught on to already in this video, it was a whole lot of tarping, a whole lot of short loads, and I wasn't making very much money. I was working my butt off and not making very much money. You know, when you're running short loads back to back and you're tarping every one of them, you're working hard. When you're working that hard and you're not making very much, it doesn't take very long and you get tired of it. You know, so that's the reason I didn't stay at Decker. But as far as how they treated me, the equipment, all that type of stuff, they're a good company. I wouldn't call them a bottom feeder company. I don't believe Decker's a bottom feeder company at all. They're a pretty decent outfit, you know. So if you're going to Decker, it ain't nothing like that. It's just their insurance is a little too high for me, and the type of freight they run. I like a little bit more variety, you know. I like hauling equipment. We got a good mix, you know, a pretty good chunk of the time I'm hauling equipment here, you know, so I really enjoy that as well. I also like the different types of trailers. I like specialized trailers and stuff like that, and they don't have that over there. So that's the reason I like it here at E.W. Wylie. Your opinion might be a little bit different. Maybe your experience is a little bit different. Maybe you got lucky over at Decker and got a lot of long loads or something, but if you are there, I hope you're happy with it. If not, Wylie's got a pretty good program. But that's my take on the two companies. That's my opinion. Y'all take care, stay safe, and keep trucking.